What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here at DataDash, and today is May 1st of 2018. Well, folks, it's time for a daily update here on the DataDash channel, and as we step into the month of May, we've got a lot of different things to talk about today. First and foremost, as always, though, spending some time looking at market valuations as well as doing some technical analysis on the market leaders. But outside of this as well, guys, we have some key headlines to dive into. The first one we'll be taking a look at has to do with a former founder or participant in the company of PayPal going into the blockchain space and supporting specific projects. So we'll be talking about why he's ambitious about blockchain and cryptocurrencies. Along with that as well, could the perfect currency be on the horizon? The perfect peer-to-peer digital currency that's backed by real value, guys. We'll be talking about that later on in the video. And last but not least, Warren Buffett coming out of the shadows again to talk negative about cryptocurrencies. One of our beloved financial investors in traditional markets coming out to talk about cryptocurrency. So we've got a lot of different things to discuss, guys. Let's go ahead and jump into this. But first, there is a mention that is due, and that is congratulations to CoinMarketCap for making it all the way through 5 years. So CoinMarketCap hit its 5th birthday this year. You can see it here on the website. And they've got some new things they've offered. They not only have a nice little rebranding of the logo, it looks pretty nice, but they also have a blog post that talks about some of the new things they're adding. So obviously they've got the rebranding, something that definitely is going to need some work on over time and everything. But man, they've come a very long way before we even dive into this stuff. I want to spend some time to really talk about how long CoinMarketCap's been around. They really got a front runner's advantage on this whole space of covering crypto because they got around when crypto only had a valuation in total as a market of $1.6 billion, and now obviously we're sitting around 400 billion and had the peak at 835 billion back in January. So congrats to CoinMarketCap for making it this far and continuing to be such a leading website in the space, and being, I think they checked on Alexa ranking and stuff, and they were the 174th largest website by traffic volume. That's just absolutely incredible. So good news on them. They've not only got the rebranding, but they've also got a new mobile app as well. Looks pretty nice. Again, a little bit late to the party on this, but definitely better late than never. But I gotta say, one thing that I'm really excited about with CoinMarketCap is the watch list feature. Now, I tried it out myself and I couldn't get it to work at the moment. Maybe they're still working on it. But basically what it goes about doing is you simply just go to the right-hand side on the ellipses tool and click on add to watch list. And after you, I think, add a few coins, you can possibly see them there on your watch list. Wouldn't work for me. I don't know if it's maybe something on my end, but nonetheless, congrats to CoinMarketCap. However, I gotta say one thing before we dive into the daily update. I know you guys are probably waiting. I gotta say CoinMarketCap, and if you guys agree with me, please make it heard in the comments down below or reach out to them on Twitter, whatever it is. CoinMarketCap, you gotta fix this night mode. This is not night mode, folks. I like night mode as much as the next guy. I love night mode, but this color, this blue/purple, we can debate about whatever color it isn't night mode. And the yellow, and it just, the colors don't blend that well. I'm not a design freak, but at the same time, I do have my preferences. I like my night mode, and I know so many people, other people do as well, because I see them using it on TradingView and all these other applications. So that's enough ranting for me, guys. I know I've wasted enough time. But CoinMarketCap, fix it. You guys are 5 years old now. Get a proper night mode. I'll keep using your website though. I love CoinMarketCap. It's simple, clean, and it does exactly what we need here on the channel. So without further ado, without my ranting, let's go ahead and take a look at markets, guys. So generally speaking, markets over the past few hours have taken a little bit of a negative turn rather than what we were expecting. We were expecting Bitcoin to possibly curve back up back to its resistance point around 9,800 and test for 10,000 to go above the 200-day moving average, but we did not get that. And in fact, Bitcoin has started to curve down a little bit down to that key level support around 9,000. So as we can see, because Bitcoin has corrected about 4% over the past few hours, we have little to no players in the green here. Bitcoin Private and Verge, as well as Decentraland and Elf, doing quite well, but most players obviously in the red. Now this is looking to be obviously a turning point in this market, as we'll talk about in regards to Bitcoin originally, and then obviously the whole greater span of what that's going to do to altcoins here when we take a look at Bitcoin on the charts later on. Nonetheless though, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at overall market capitalization. We can see here on the monthly, we're not seeing any crazy start sell-off here, guys. We're still way up over the past month of price action. April was a great month for cryptocurrencies, and I think we're going to continue the trend in May. Nonetheless, though, we might be going back to test that key level of support at $400 billion, and we might even see a little bit more correction. I don't really know what level to go to, guys, in regards to market cap. There really isn't just much level whatsoever we can really judge off of, because really there isn't any key support level here in market cap, as you can obviously see as we look across the chart here. Maybe possibly down to something in the mid 300 billion range. I just don't see it in this market. I think there's too much optimism, the volume's coming in. So I think we might see maybe a 10 or 20 billion dollar correction at worst. So same in regards to altcoins. Altcoins will follow, obviously. Bitcoin dominance, however, as we take a look here on the yearly chart, is starting to flatten out, as well as other coins gaining on their market dominance, starting to flatten out again. So I think right now what we might see is maybe a slight temporary correction in Bitcoin and altcoins, meaning that Bitcoin is probably going to gain back a percentage point of market dominance or so, whatever it may be. Either way, maybe we might have a little short-term pullback after all of this innate exuberance that has been coming into the market. But I want to spend some time to focus in on Bitcoin, because this is really where I'm going to be focusing the theme for this daily update, guys. The main key point that I really want to drill in here with Bitcoin right now is that it didn't go through what we were expecting. It was originally, but we were seeing that we had a key level of support at this range, and from that, with the boost upwards, we were hoping that it would come curve back up and break through, hopefully up towards that range above the 200-day moving average as it approaches 10,000, and hopefully obviously get above it and continue on with a rampant bull trend. But it turns out right now that that wasn't the case, and as of now, we're seeing if we can test around the $9,000 range. Now, currently, we're trading around 8,900 here on Bitfinex. Again, it depends on what exchange you're looking at, but generally speaking, still holding on that line of support that we held for all of these days. We're going to see whether or not we can hold that. Worst case scenario in the case of Bitcoin, I think, is that we break through this. We have a solidified close in price action on the close of the day, a daily candle, and possibly a test down to the 50-day over the next few days, as well as where it's sitting, which is around that key level support at $8,000. So we could possibly see that with Bitcoin. I'm going to see if that's the case. If it is the case, we all know that most likely altcoins are going to follow with that. So if you see some cheap protocols dropping down 10, 20, or 30% that you missed out on, might be the opportunity to possibly find some good place in the market. Again, not going to name names here, guys. You guys know what I'm already optimistic on, and I want you guys to chase after what you guys have done your research on and are excited about. But again, we all know that when Bitcoin drops, in this case would be a good 10% if they were to drop another $800 here, or sorry, math's wrong on that, I think. But potentially speaking, it's going to be a nice few percentage points of dropping. And along with that as well, you have the opportunity to possibly get some altcoins that are going to drop at an even faster rate. So in that case, I'm going to look for support at the 50-day at the worst case, but I honestly think there's a chance as well that we could hold here at this level. Again, staying neutral, we'll have to see. If it breaks through, I'm not touching Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies until we get down here at this range, and there will hopefully be some nice discounts if that happens. But again, we're hoping for the best here, guys. So that's the general shtick with Bitcoin. Again, for the long-term confirmation of the uptrend, we need this to get above the 200-day moving average and $10,000. If we get that, we will continue on with the trend. We will really start to see some optimism in markets and hopefully some serious institutional buying coming in as well. So now that we got that through, guys, let's go ahead here and take a look at some other market leaders here. Ethereum still holding through towards above not only that key level at 6,800,000 Satoshis, but is testing to see if it can get past 7,500,000 Satoshis. This has obviously served as a resistance point for the past 3 days. We'll have to see if it can comparatively get past Bitcoin. But with Bitcoin seeing a little bit of a corrective force, we might come back down to test this level one more time around 6,700,000 Satoshis, excuse me. So that's what I'm looking for here. Again, not really making any action on Ethereum. If it gets past and closes above 7,500,000 Satoshis, I will definitely make at least a short-term trade on Ethereum there, hopefully trading it up to a higher level around 9 million or 10 million Satoshis. So That's the general play with Ethereum for me personally. Let's go ahead and take a look at XRP BTC. Again, continuing to play relatively stagnantly right now in regards to price action. But for now, I'm still waiting for this to come down and make contact with that beautiful 50-day moving average until I make any serious trade in it, guys. Again, the moving averages are playing very key here, guys. Doesn't matter if you're looking at the Bitcoin comparative or the USD comparison. They've played huge, as well as that, really those key levels of support. And if it came down to 80,000 Satoshis, look where we've garnered support before. Over here, it was previous resistance over here, support, support. If we can make that level support again, and again, solidify that previous resistance becomes support, that would be very healthy for Ripple. And look what's lining up. When you get the moving averages lining up with price levels, guys, it's a win-win situation in most cases. So that's what I'm looking for personally. No guarantees, though. Let's go ahead here. Bitcoin Cash still hanging in a very high price range with no serious technical formation afterwards, which is definitely concerning me a little bit. Again, I guess some people, you can always be like, oh, you know, here's a wedge right here, for example. I don't know. It's not going to let me draw it there. So maybe if this continues to form a wedge in regards to price action, that might be good. But for the most part, it's not a very consistent wedge. And the price action on the daily is looking very, very jumpy. But that's understandable because this just had like a week's long worth of price action literally going exponentially up. So I understand that it might be a little bit jittery as it's made up to the top. So because of that, there's no consistent trend. I'm not going to touch it right now. Nonetheless, though, congrats to the longs on that. All right, so let's go ahead here, take a look at EOS. EOS has been garnering lots of attention recently. Finally, a down day in EOS. Finally. I think, again, guys, that this is going to probably see a little bit of a starch comeback, a starch pullback. And the reason I say that is because this has been pretty dramatically overbought. Not to be negative on EOS, I think a lot of this has come in anticipation for the rounds that they're raising coming to a close, as well as Dawn 3.0, and obviously all the great developments that EOS is doing. So because of that, I'm going to wait for this to cool down, get towards more of a reasonable level. I think, more than anything, what would be really good for EOS is if it came down to around 150,000 Satoshis. That'd be really, really healthy for this. And it's looking like if we get that correction to Bitcoin down at 8,000, this could possibly happen. Again, a good 40,000 Satoshis to go down wouldn't hurt too much in the grand scheme of things. This thing has been killing it. Got to give it to the longs on EOS. So congrats to that, guys. So let's go ahead here, take a look at a few more players. Litecoin. Litecoin, again, still going down towards the 200-day moving average. Here, I'll tell you what I'm thinking about, guys. Again, another moment where I sometimes, again, will look at USD valuations. I think it's good to use both combinations for your trades. Here's the thing about Litecoin. Litecoin itself, I think, especially, again, if Bitcoin comes correcting down, is going to come back down to test and triple bottom at this level around $100. It's a little bit above $100. We've seen it over here. We've seen it over here. The reason it's there is because this is where previous resistance was, a little bit above $100. Again, previous resistance tends to become new support, especially, guys, in these greater cycles. It's so easy to spot this kind of stuff. And you can see that there's generally been a weighing downtrend line here that stayed relatively consistent, and we've seen that this is a common level of past resistance and support. So I would generally look for Litecoin if it got around to this $112 range, and if it garnered support at around this level, around 1,500,000 Satoshis with a Bitcoin decline to 8,000, I think you can generally get around there. Maybe it's a little bit below the 200-day moving average. Who knows? The general speak is that I'm looking for possibly making a trade on Litecoin if it comes down to that level, holds support for a few days, and then we can possibly see some buyers come in, because that's where the institutions are adding. If they think they can get it at that discount, they're going to get into it. So that's what I'm generally looking for. Let's go ahead here, take a look at a few more players here. 88 BTC, again, continuing to hold quite strong in this market, not losing too much of its gains yesterday. A little bit of a down day, but continuing to recover a little bit of those losses and holding in there. We're seeing a lot more nicer volume coming into the plays. However, nonetheless, we haven't seen the kind of big buying we saw back here in December. Understandable. We're at a different price range, but still would like to see a tad bit more volume in this market. Good to see some good buy candles coming in and to see that the uptrend is holding in a nice steady fashion. Not making any trades on here. Already long term on this one. ICXBTC. Icon coming down. Excuse me, guys. Sorry. Still a little bit sick. Icon holding nicely here, even though it's gone through a little bit of a correction, holding nicely on top of the previous resistance point. If that continues to hold, look for that to hold over the next day or so, and that could be definitely a good confirmation that the uptrend wants to continue on this one. So going through a few more players here, let's think about some big ones. Ontology, BTC, has been getting a lot of attention. Guys, I gotta tell you, I do not play with things that have gone exponential like this. I'm gonna wait for a nice correction on this. Again, it's the kind of same thing I said with EOS. Not negative on Ontology. We talked about it way back here before it had its crazy uptrend. But again, I want to make it clear that with something like Ontology, you want to wait for this to cool down after it's gone exponential. At least I'm not going to be messing around with it at these levels. All right, let's go ahead here, take a look at a few more. WAN BTC, WAN chain, finally looking like it might tip over and get a little bit of a correction. We're definitely going to need it on this one. Hoping to see it possibly test down a previous support level around for, say, 7,000 Satoshis, something like that. That's a little bit more rational. In that case, I think we're going to, in the case of Bitcoin going 8,000, I think we could easily see that. Let's go ahead here, take a look at a few more plays here. XLM BTC. I know I don't always talk about Lumens. Oops, it gave me the Bitfinex one, which apparently just launched just today. That's interesting. But here's the thing about Lumens, guys. Lumen is looking very nice in regards to a potential cup and handle. I wouldn't be making so much the trade here on buying Lumens at these levels. What I would hope for is that the price action. Oops, excuse me. I think it's not letting me draw. There we go. I would hope for a cupping and the price action, a handle, and then a continuation upward. That's where I'd potentially make the trade if we get the handle here. But for now, there's no definite trend here, and because of that, it's on the higher end. I'm not going to play with Lumens right now. It's just not my current play at the moment. Going through here, taking a look at the last play here, we're going to take a look at QLC, BTC, QLink. A lot of people have, again, still continued to ask if I'm on this trade. Guys, yes, QLink is still in the game. You just got to remain patient. We're seeing a slight increase in volume over the past few days. I'm hoping and waiting for a close above 2,700 Satoshis, generally around the top range here. If we get that, I think this thing is going to start ripping most likely because that's going to confirm the cup and price action. But it's been slowly building up. We just got to be patient on it. As well, just thought I'd share with you guys, as I was talking about the other day, I didn't get it, of course, before it started blowing away, as I talked about on my daily update, how I was too busy planning to cover and talk about it before I could make my addition to NEO. I did make my additional buy to NEO after this dip. I got around here, I think at the general price, okay, more around like 900,000 Satoshis. So now it's around 890,000 right now. So definitely just kind of generally around where I got it, which is good. But got it at a nice little discount comparative to getting it at 1,000,000 Satoshis. Again, I think this thing has some room to run, guys. I'm not trading NEO on this. I'm adding to, again, my long-term holdings for the protocol itself. Really love NEO. Again, one of the top leaders in the space. The whole ecosystem is building up, and it's one of my top coins for May as well. So anyways, that's it for the market. We've done enough time, spent enough time now analyzing things. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about these headlines here. So another one of the PayPal co-founders, not one of the really big names that people probably know, like Peter Thiel and Elon Musk, but one of the original people who have helped found the company, is embracing blockchain's seismic shift. So what does that exactly mean? Well, basically, this individual, as we go down here, Yupon, he's a relatively known figure in the tech space. He's worked accordingly as a Google employee, as well as the founder of Kiwi Crate. He's worked with a mix of things in regards to payments, as well as working in child education, as well as I think they mentioned in parentheses somewhere here. He had worked in dabbling in kids' creativity in between. So he's had a mixed career, both in finance and media as well. But he comes in with some really positive quotes here, saying it's a promising sign for the entire ecosystem that people at this level of experience and talent are starting to work on blockchain-related projects. So definitely kind of getting into the space. You see a lot of people doing this, guys. I can tell you when I was in Silicon Valley at the time, I was working at my startup. I was very happy to be there at the time I was, not only because I loved my startup, but along with that as well, that what's really interesting, and one of the best places you can go to working in these places like Silicon Valley, is the coffee shops. And the story that I always got from my old coworker, Wes, who was a really great guy, he'd always go to the coffee shops. He was obsessed with it. And he'd always tell me how I was in Silicon Valley at the right time, because 5 out of 7 new pitches that he would hear, you always hear VCs and angel investors getting pitched to on new startups. 5 out of 7 new startups had to do with cryptocurrency, whether it was an exchange, whether it was an ICO, some kind of thing like that. There was an immense amount of support there at the time, and that was back during last summer. I mean, I can't even imagine what it's like nowadays. You're hard pressed. I went to a WeWork building, for example, not to ramble on here, but a WeWork building is where a lot of startups will conglomerately work together in these really nice buildings. And I went to one recently in Boston for my conference, and I can't tell you how much there is in regards to dApps and cryptocurrencies and tokens and all these ICOs. It's the new thing in Silicon Valley. You can't be in anything else right now, or you're not the talk of the town. So I think it's good to see people like him getting in. But along with that as well, he's decided to work with Origin Protocol. So Origin Protocol kind of meets towards something I think he would be interested in, as well as many people in the crypto community. But basically, Origin Protocol, from my understanding, is a protocol platform that is opening up the sharing economy. So it cuts out the middleman, kind of like what you would imagine with something like a dApp in regards to ride sharing or Airbnb, where it cuts out Uber or Airbnb in the picture and really makes the sharing economy peer-to-peer. So again, I have to look into it a little bit further. I've heard a lot about it, but they raised over $28 million in a SAFT recently. So fantastic stuff. And also sold $3 million worth of tokens to a venture fund, Pantera Capital. Very big capital company. And I don't know if they're based specifically in the Valley, but I definitely learned a lot about them when I was out there. So good to see, again, another founder of PayPal coming in, embracing the new era of cryptocurrencies and blockchain. Next up, guys, I got to talk about a currency that has, to say the least, made me confident that we have found the peer-to-peer digital currency of the future. Today, Oscar Mayer has come out. Actually, I think it was yesterday. Oscar Mayer came out in embracing the future of cryptocurrencies, the gold standard, or the bacon standard, as I may say, in cryptocurrencies, and that is Bitcoin. So, guys, in all seriousness, okay, I honestly will not be able to keep a straight face with this, guys. Humor is not my forte, but Bitcoin is basically this new marketing ploy that they're doing over at Oscar Mayer. It's a genius marketing ploy. Definitely doesn't go on the side of being too tailoring and kind of cringy in their humor. They actually came up with a pretty cool idea, though, as a marketing ploy here. And they basically created a cryptocurrency that is backed by a certain amount of bacon. So you can see that it's quite volatile, just as volatile as cryptocurrencies. This isn't even the daily chart. This is the hourly. But basically, where each Bitcoin is backed up by strips of bacon. So it's kind of like, for example, how the dollar used to be backed by gold. And the whole joke is that, Oscar Mayer is the gold standard of bacon. So it's the gold standard of their coins. You can go ahead and watch this video. It's right here to explain how it works. But you just simply go about registering. I think it's pretty simple. I haven't done it myself. But you go through, give your name and last name and email and stuff, and you can actually get access to Bitcoins, and you can claim them for your bacon strips. They said that this is a real thing, that they're not joking around. This isn't April 1st. That's not April Fool's, but definitely a smart marketing ploy on Oscar Mayer's part to get towards this niche market of cryptocurrency traders and investors. They've done stuff like this in the past. I think they have their huge weeder trucks that they always drive around. I've seen some of them myself, but nonetheless, definitely check it out if you guys are interested. It could be the next Bitcoin. It could be worth $1 million one day. You never know. Or 1 million strips of bacon. And to most people, that's a lifetime supply of bacon. Who knows? Anyways, let's go ahead here, take a look at the last one now that we've gone through some laughs here, and talk about Warren Buffett. So, as you all know, we've talked about Warren Buffett before, and he has surely talked about cryptocurrencies before and his dislike for Bitcoin and all these speculative cryptocurrencies that are coming into creation. And it's understandable, for two reasons. One, he's molded in the traditional financial system, and if money moves out of stocks, predominantly like generally equities markets, that is going to hurt Warren Buffett personally. So he's got to stand in defense of what he likes, I think, in a business sense. But outside of that as well, I think, again, he still continues to miss on the bigger picture of things. He's missed out on Amazon. He's missed out on a lot of big tech giants. It's just not his forte. He likes his simple form of the way he kind of works is that he works in a sense of mathematics. He knows what works for him. He knows, I think the analogy to really give an example is kind of like, for example, for a batter, for example, to know the different zones for pitching and everything. That was his kind of analogy he used. And he has the sweet spot, where you get that home run hit. And that's what he looks for. But anyways, going through the quotes here, let's go ahead and talk about the quote here. There's nothing wrong with it. If you want to gamble, somebody else will come along and pay more money tomorrow. That's one kind of game. That is not investing. Well, here's the whole thing about his analogy. He seems to be taking more of an approach to trading on cryptocurrencies. And yes, I won't doubt that that is exactly what's happening. In a lot of cases, some people are day trading and they're literally at the equivalent level of approaching this market that they would be pulling the slot machine and hoping for the best. There's a lot of people who get into cryptocurrencies and simply gamble around. Same goes for stocks. I know people who have walked into day trading and don't do well because they're not investing. They're not looking at the long-term picture of the market or understanding what they're putting their money into. But that's not everybody in the space, and that's not what cryptocurrencies really are. Cryptocurrencies themselves can inherently have an investment value to them because, in many cases, people use them for a variety of different things or they serve utility functions. And if these protocols continue to develop like they are over the next years, or these peer-to-peer digital currencies, if they have limited supplies, if they have different forms of utility to them, if there are means of payment for products, you can definitely make an investment in them nowadays because those markets, these currencies, are going to grow over time. So I think the argument, just because this isn't a functioning company that's producing income of some sort, doesn't mean that you can't invest in these. People go about investing in currency markets all the time, and I would assume Warren Buffett in Berkshire, again, even though they're mostly predominantly invested in companies, that they've done some different doings in forex markets, or players like George Soros and a lot of other big financial heads have done this, and they make billions of dollars in the process. So to say that cryptocurrencies that are a small niche market of currencies that could potentially grow into the next big thing, the next currency market that we use on a day-to-day basis, is not an investment opportunity, or that's not investing when you put your money into crypto, I think that's a little bit misleading. Again, it's not a company in most cases. But there are some cases where you can invest in tokens. There's securities tokens that have ownership in regards to a DApp or some kind of platform. In that case, yes, they're even very close to companies in that case. So anyways, you can go through here, guys, look through the article. Again, Warren Buffett, I think, is one of the more legacy investors who, again, may not be fitting with the times. And like I said, again, Amazon was one that he missed. Netflix, I think, as well. A lot of big tech giants that were pretty clear winners if you were keeping up with them early on, or you were an early user of the internet. But I think that's really where the line kind of gets drawn. Warren Buffett's not a big techie guy. And nonetheless, though, I think there's some pros and cons about Warren and stuff. And it just might not be his space. He's got his money where he wants it. And we here in the crypto space believe in the project long term. And we're going to keep on spreading the word in a positive nature because we know that this is going to change things for the long term. Anyways, guys, that's it for the daily update. Thank you guys so much for watching. What do you guys think about Warren's comments? What do you think about Oscar Mayer's marketing approach to make Bitcoin? I think it's pretty funny to a decent degree. Along with that as well, more founders from PayPal coming, and the current state of markets. I'd like to hear down below in the comments what you guys think. But until the next video, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Stay tuned.